Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vyari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Itai Gaura Haribo Haribo Itai Gaura Haribo Gaur Premanande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramamsa Parirakara Stotra Shata Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanal Vindesi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramamsa Parirakara Stotra Shata Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaura Premanande All glories to somebody devotees All glories to somebody devotees all glories, Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories, Shri Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirahe Natsaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming this morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are going to read from Bhagavatam 10th canto 63rd chapter text 45 and 46. So I just recite which is on the board text 46. I am Mamastesto Dvaityo Anavati Mahabhayam Dattam Amusuya Deva Sampadayatam Tad Bhavata Prasado Yata Hi Te Daitya Patu Prasadaha Ayam Mama Testo Dvaitanuvanti Mahabhayam Dattam Amasuya Deva Sampadatyam Tadbhavato Pasadoto Yata hi te te daitya patu prasadaham Ayam mama testo dvaityo anuvarti Maya bam dattam amusuya devaya Sampadatam tadbhavata prasado Yata te hi daitya patu prasadaham Ayam mama testo daityo anuvarti Maya bhayam tattam amusoya deva Sampadatyam tadbhavato prasado Yata hi daitapatu prasadaha Please send. Ayam mamatesto daityo anuvarti maya vayam datam mamusya deva sampajatam dattad bhavata prasado yata te te daityapatau prasada. Ayam mamishto daityo anuvatti maya vayam dattamamusya deva sampadatam tattva yata te daityapato prasada. Ayam mamishto daityo anuvatti maya vayam daityamasya deva sampadatam daitam prasado yata dete datyapato prasada. You want to try? Okay. Okay. You want to try? Sure. I am my Mr. Dvaityo Anuvarti. Maya Bhayam Daityamamusya Deva. Sampadatyam Tadbhavata Pasado. Yata te iti daitapata pasada. Thank you. You want to try? I am Mr. Dvaityo Anuvarti. Maya bhayam datam mamusya deva sampadatyam tad bhavata prasado yata dete daita prasad. Thank you very much. Nice. So we'll recite word to word meaning. I am this, mama, my, ishta, favored, daita, very dear, anuvarti, follower, maya, by me, abhayam, fearlessness, dattam, given, amusya, his, deva, O Lord, sampadatyam, please let it be granted, tad, therefore, bhavata, your, prasada, grace, yata, as, he, indeed, te, your, daitya, of the demons, patu, for the chief, prahlad, prasada, grace. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. This Bhanasura is my dear and faithful follower, and I have awarded him freedom from fear. Therefore, my Lord, please grant him your mercy, just as you showed mercy to Prahlada, the lord of the demons. Purport. Lord Shiva feels inclined to help Bhavnasura because the demon showed a great devotion to Lord Shiva when he provided a musical accompaniment for Lord Shiva's Tandava dance. Another reason Bhana is an object of Lord Shiva's favor is that he is the descendant of the great devotee Prahlad and Bali. Text 46. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Yatra Tata Bhagavanstam Nah Karvama Priyam Tva Bhavato Yad Vyasyastim Tanme Svadhi Anubandhimem. The Supreme Lord said, My dear Lord, for your pleasure, we must certainly do what you have requested for us. I fully agree with your conclusion. Purport. We should not think it is strange that Supreme Lord Krishna here addressed Lord Shiva as Bhagavan, Lord. All living beings are part and parcel of the Lord, qualitatively one with Him, and Lord Shiva is an especially powerful, pure entity who possesses many of the Supreme Lord's qualities. Just as a father is happy to share his riches with beloved son, so the Supreme Lord happily invests a pure living being with some of his potency and opulence. And just as a father proudly and happily observes the good qualities of his children, the Lord is most happily to glorify the pure living beings who are powerful in Krishna consciousness. Thus, the Supreme Lord is pleased to glorify the Lord Shiva by addressing him as Bhagavan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanam Salakaya Chakshurulmitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeshatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha paritana pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha Anantapoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. So here we see that Lord Shiva is asking a favor from Lord Krishna because he is inclined or he is to help Bhanasura, because Bhanasura is the most favorite disciple of Lord Shiva, and he wants Lord Krishna also protect him because he has already granted a boon, that fearlessness. And also he is giving another reason that this Banasura is a descendant of and is a descendant of the family from Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj. So these two reasons are given by Lord Shiva. When Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, if you approach directly for his mercy, it may not be happen. It may happen sometimes, but it may not. That's why we should approach Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, through his disciples, through his favorite person, or through his intimate associates. One cannot approach Supreme Lord directly. If one approach Supreme Lord directly, he will not grant his mercy. This is a lesson for us that if you approach Supreme Lord directly, he is not inclined to help you. you should approach through his bona fide representative or intimate associate. So now the question is, who is the intimate associate? Who is a bona fide representative? Or who is favored for him? This question may arise in a commonly for all people, like one who serves the Supreme Lord, he may be the intimate associate, or one who dress the deity, he may be intimate associate, or one who worship, he may be intimate associate. The question comes in our mind. So one should think that from the point of Shastras, from the point of scriptures, like evam parampara praptam imam rajarsho yo vidhu. So this approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the Guru Shishya Parampara, through the bona fide representative. Who is a bona fide representative? Who comes in the Parampara system? We have four Sampradayas. One is Brahma Sampradaya, two is Rudra Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, and Nimbarak Sampradaya. These are four schools where you can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead from a bona fide representative. So our Sampradaya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, in our lineage, there are so many bona fide acharyas, Madhvacharya and other acharyas, Vishnu Swami and Madhavendra Puri. They are all coming from the bona fide representative, bona fide acharyas, bona fide sampradayas. So one may ask that how can we think that he is a favorite? Because one, he should follow the Shastras. What he says, he does. What he talks, he walks. It's not that what he talks something and what he walks different. So one should examine that he should be coming in the bona fide sampradaya. And second thing is achari prachar. What he says, he's glory. He preaches. So just like a simple analogy, like if you want to graduate from a certain university, you cannot manufacture that graduation, that degree or whatever studies at your home. You have to approach a university or a college to get a degree or graduation. Just like Srila Prabhupada often gives an example, just like buying books from the books from the bookstore, medical books, or you just buy a law books from the bookstore. You study at home. You cannot become a doctor or you cannot become a lawyer. You have to approach university. You got to admit yourself. You got to study there. Then you should be under some senior person. Get practice. Then you will become a teacher or a lawyer or a doctor. You cannot buy a books from the library or borrow from your friend, study at your home, and you cannot become a medical practitioner. Similarly, you have to once if you want to know the God and you want to approach the Supreme Lord, you should be admit into these four sampradayas which I have mentioned. So similarly, when you approach a pure devotee of the Lord, when he recommends you to the Krishna, then there is a chance, there is 100% chance that Lord will approve your or mercy or he will see you. Otherwise, there is no chance. There are so many examples in the scriptures, just like you know when Dhruva Maharaj was trying to praise the Lord. In between, he interacts with Narad Muni. When Narad Muni understands that here is a bona fide, here is a devotee who's trying to approach the Lord, he helps, Narad Muni helps Dhruva Maharaj that you should chant this mantra, you should go this place. Then by his mercy he is pleased. And similarly Prahlad Maharaj too. Prahlad Maharaj also, he was uh, when he was in the womb of his mother, he took guidance from Narad Muni. He was hearing Bhagavatam from Narad Muni. So there, in that way he became a devotee. So here Lord Shiva's recommendation that this demon like Banasura, he's saying that here is Banasura. He is like coming lineage, coming from in the family of Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, and he accompany me whenever I'm dancing for your pleasure. Lord Shiva saying, whenever I'm dancing for your pleasure, he plays music for me. When you serve the devotees of the Lord, he is always pleased. Here is also Lord Shiva is pleased because of his devotion, and when he dances like this is pleasing the Lord Shiva. So when Lord Shiva is dancing for not for his pleasure, Lord Shiva is dancing for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. You know, even though you may not pleasing directly Supreme Lord, if you please the his devotee, then naturally Supreme Lord is pleased. That's why in the prayers morning we sing Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada, Yasya Prasada Nagadikutopi. So when you please his pure devotees, then naturally you don't have to please separately Supreme Lord. Then Lord is always pleased. So in the next verse we see that Lord is pleased by the prayers of Lord Shiva, and he addresses him as Bhagavan. Sometimes we forget, you know, who is Bhagavan, whether it's Krishna or whether Narayana or whether Lord Shiva or whether Lord Brahma. Who is Bhagavan? So in the Bhagavatam, various places, Lord Shiva is addressed as Bhagavan, and in the third canto, uh, Lord Brahma is also addressed as Bhagavan by Narada Muni. So here is also Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna is himself is addressing Lord Shiva as Bhagavan. So there is nothing wrong. Srila Prabhupada, here commentary says that there is nothing wrong. Here he addresses Shiva as Bhagavan. So there are many living entities qualitatively one with him, but not quantitatively. We are a part and parcel of Lord Krishna, but we are not equal in quality wise, quantity wise. Sorry. So Lord Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. He gets pleasure. And Lord, whenever the devotee does a miracle, an activity which is pleasing Supreme Lord, he would naturally wants to glorify his devotee. So when you glorify the Lord, you will be also glorified. It is wise. It is like for example, Srila Prabhupada established all over the world Hare Krishna temples, ISKCON temples. In that way, he glorifies Lord Krishna. But at the same time, Prabhupada is also glorified. Right? So, when you please the Supreme Lord, you will be also pleased. You don't have to please yourself for separately. Sometimes we are tendency to please ourselves, in the form of sense gratification. We try to please ourselves. We try to please others. We try to please family members. We try to please our friends. We try to please relatives. But they are not pleased because they are imperfect. We are also imperfect to please Him. The only perfect person to please us is Supreme Lord. So whatever way in our capacity we serve the Supreme Lord, He is pleased. So here Lord Shiva is also a pure living entity and is a pure devotee of the Lord. He pleased glorifying Supreme Lord. And whereas Supreme Lord is also glorifying Lord Shiva, addressing him as Bhagavan. So he is the most happiest person. So we see in the various pastimes in Samudra Mantana Leela, where there is a churning of the ocean takes place. One side there will be the demons, another side there were the demigods. First, what it comes, the poison. So when the poison emanates, nobody is ready to handle it. At that time, Lord Vishnu tells, "You all approach Lord Shiva, then he will be able to handle this poison." Then every demigod and demons they approach Lord Shiva. The Lord Shiva drank it because it is not that Lord Vishnu cannot handle. One should not think that because Lord Vishnu wants to glorify his devotee, and at the same time, Lord Vishnu is also glorified. So we see that there are many instances in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna can kill everybody, all the Kauravas in 1 minute with his Sudarshan Chakra, but he didn't do it because he wants to get credit to Arjuna. And another incident, you know, when Lord Krishna and Bhima went to Jarasandha, asked him, begging him for fight. So they fought for 17 or 18 days. At the end, Bhima could able to trace it out. What is his death secret? So he could able to kill. There, Lord Krishna helped him. You all know the pastime. Like he threw his body into two pieces and put it in separately. So my point is that when you glorify Krishna, automatically you will be glorified. How we can glorify Lord Krishna? By chanting his names, by discussing his pastimes, and by glorifying him, by worshipping him, by serving him. And Krishna is a supreme personality of God. It is not said by just uh, like ordinary persons. It is said by great personalities. In the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, Shloka 12 and 13, Arjuna says, Parabrahma Param Dhama Paritram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Rajasya Sarve Devarshi Naradastata Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Shaiva Bhavarshami. So Arjuna said, "You are the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest of absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, and unborn and the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself declaring it to me." So it is not Arjuna, one can say, "Oh, Arjuna wants to flatter Lord Krishna." He just saying that you are the supreme. No, there are great sages like Narada Muni, Asita, Devala, Vyasa. There are great sages. They are confirming this absolute truth, and we should not have any doubt about it. And in the Bhagavatam, Ekecha Sakalapam Sa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyam Vyakulam Loke Mrutayanti Yuge Yuge. So Indra is also glorified. And in Bhagavatam says that, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So one should convince oneself within oneself that Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Though he may be glorifying somebody as a Bhagavan, one should not get misunderstood with that. So having said that, there are different acharyas also commentary on this verse text 45. So here the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, like question and answers. O Lord Shiva, O Shiva, I am pleased with you. Please choose a boon. It is a dialogue exchanges between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. So when Lord Krishna asks to Lord Shiva, I am pleased with you, ask a boon. Then Lord Shiva tell, I cannot give up my attachment for the sinful followers of Banasura. What can I do? Please be merciful to him. This is the benediction I choose. Then, so this is what Lord Shiva speaks. Then he speaks a verse which makes fearless. Then why? There are no good qualities in him. I agree. Lord Shiva says, there are no good qualities. It is all by your mercy. You know, At the same time, you gave mercy to Prahlad Maharaj and you gave mercy to the Bali Maharaj. Correct? Because they are obviously they are impure devotees. Like it is a great advantage if you are born in a pure devotees family, then automatically your mercy is confirmed. Just like Srila Bhaktivinoda, highest birth as a Brahma, or you want to take it as a Brahma's birth, or you are born as a Brahma, or you want to born as an insect in the devotee's house. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that I will be born as an insect in the house of a devotee. Because a pure devotee's house is always glorification of the Supreme Lord. That's how it is. Even Prahlad Maharaj also says that when he was asked by Lord Nrsingadev, asked for a boon, then he first prayer was, how can I give up my association with which I had with Narad Muni? I want association of the devotees. And all the great devotees, they want association of the devotees, not directly Lord. So here what it is says, even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Jagai Madai attacked Lord Nityananda, and immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and invoked Sudarshan Chakra to kill him. At that time, Lord Nityananda says that don't kill them. They are pleased. They are chanting the holy name of the Lord. Because when Lord Nityananda told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he stopped then. Otherwise, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wouldn't stop. They have pleased Nityananda. So here in this pastime, we see that when devotee recommends, there will be a chance. When devotee rejects, there will be no chance. That's why Vaishnava aparadha is very, very dangerous. One should not commit any Vaishnava aparadha, or one should not commit any offense to the devotee. We should be very, very careful that if you commit an offense to the devotee, then there will be severe reaction. Then the another thing is that Lord Shiva tells to Mother Parvati, Aradhanam Tadyanam, Vishnu Aradhanam Param. So, out of all the worships, who is the chief, who is the most pleasing, and who is the highest worship? What worship is the highest worship? Lord Shiva says, to Mother Parvati, that Vishnu, worshipping Vishnu is the highest form of worship. It is ultimate worship. And Tadyanam Aradhanam Param. Highest than the Vishnu's worship is worshipping of the devotee. So here Lord Shiva gives clear picture. So one may worship what is the highest, but one highest of the worship of the Vishnu is his devotee. That's why we celebrate Vyasa Puja of our spiritual master very grand, very elaborately, and we worship Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja much, much greater than Janmashtami. In Janmashtami we celebrate very elaborately with lots of decoration, with lots of arrangements, with lots of preparations. But we celebrate Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja even more greater, even more elaborately, even more lavishly, even more higher, what you call we celebrate more, we celebrate. That's why, and also like we see in the Vrindavan, Janmashtami in Vrindavan, because Radharani is considered as highest, because she is the most pure devotee of the Lord. But that in that way we can understand that Vaishnava Aparadha we should not commit. So here Lord Shiva understand that this Bhanasura doesn't have any good qualities. He's a demon, and he is like he doesn't have anything to please. But still, he's a sinful, and but he pleased Lord Shiva. In that way, He is very, very favorable. When you please Lord Shiva, automatically you become pure devotee. That's a analogy is given. At the same time, we should also take this lesson that never commit any Vaishnava aparadh, and we should be very careful. And therefore, we will become fearlessness. And when we please devotees, when we please the pure representative of the Lord. So here and he's also given a reason that he's coming from the Prahlad Maharaj lineage. So in that way, Lord pleases him, and when he pleases Supreme Lord addresses him as, I fully agree with your proposal, and he addresses him as Bhagavan. So one should not think that Krishna is addressing Lord Shiva as a Bhagavan, that means he's a Bhagavan. No. So that's why we should read the commentaries of Acharya so that we can understand properly. So when you glorify the Supreme Lord, you automatically you will be also glorified. So you will be the most happiest person. So I will stop here. It's 8:20. Any questions or comments? Okay.
Um, okay, so I was going to say in a brief, what is your synopsis of what is trying to be, I guess you would say presented?
Representative.
The whole synopsis of like each lesson has just one main point because we get very analytical and here it's very, the echo and everything. Um, so, in your opinion, what is or of course, according to the scriptures, what is your synopsis of the main, what we should take in our heart?
The one is from these two verses. One, what I take it is as try to please the representative of the Supreme Lord. Then automatically Supreme Lord is pleased. When Supreme Lord is pleased, Krishna, then automatically our life is successful. So don't offend any Vaishnavas aparadh. Vaishnava aparadh is very dangerous. So that is a lesson. See here, the Banasura is a demon, doesn't have any good quality, sinful person. Though he's a demon, he doesn't have any good qualities, he's a sinful person. He pleased the Lord Shiva by his activity, by his prayers, by his action. In that way, he got mercy of the Supreme Lord. If he doesn't please the Supreme, Lord Shiva, then there is no chance of getting the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So here, one lesson we should take it that try to please the representative of the Supreme Lord. Try to please your spiritual master. Try to please the bona fide representative. Who is a bona fide representative? Who comes in the Guru Shishya Parambara. If you please him, then automatically Lord is pleased. No matter, sometimes we may commit sinful activities. We are all not perfect. Sometimes we may commit any actions which may get into reaction, sinful activity, or we may not follow the rules of the guidelines of the scriptures, or we may be fall on sometimes. But if you please one bona fide representative, then he will recommend you. Just as Radharani, if you approach Radharani, she will recommend you to Krishna. If you directly approach Krishna, you cannot approach. He will be not pleased. There is a temple in South India called Srirangam Temple, which is the largest temple. There is a custom, there is a guide, sorry, there is a rule that if, before taking the Lord's darshan, before taking the darshan of the Lord, before seeing the Lord, you should see the Lakshmi Devi, you should see the goddess of fortune. Then you will go to the take darshan of the Supreme Lord. Just as we see directly here, Kishore Kishori, there is a temple, South Indian temple called Sri Rangam. First, you should see the Supreme Personality of God. Before Him, we should see the Goddess of Fortune, Lakshmi Devi. Then you should come to the Ranganath Swami temple. That is the culture there. That is a rule there. It's not that you should directly go to the Ranganath Swami and directly see the Lord. First, you should approach Goddess of Fortune, take her darshan, then you come to the Lord to take darshan.
Is that accessible to visitors?
Huh?
Is that accessible for visitors? You know, like people that come from other lands or countries or other various Indian vicinities?
Yeah, that's actually there is a culture there. If you follow, that will be better. It's not that they will not allow you. You can directly go and see the Lord directly. But there is a way of taking darshan. The way of taking is like, first we in this, like in a temple also, just you first you come, you obeisances to the Srila Prabhupada. Then you go offer your obeisances to the Kishore Kishori. That's a rule, that's a culture, right? In ISKCON temples. Similarly, they have that culture. If somebody newcomer, if they don't know, that's not a big issue. Next time, like that's why they should hear. When we go to the holy places, before going, you should hear properly. Then you will get a full benefit.
In other words, you should kind of have an orientation before you go.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You should understand the what is the rule or what is the culture there, how we should take darshan. Just like in any temple you walk in, you just offer obeisances to the Prabhupada. You don't. For some people we see visitors, newcomers, they just no, they just go to the Krishna and they offer obeisances, and they will go away. There is nothing wrong, but at the same time, if they know the process, how to approach, then it will be more benefit.
Okay. Well, I think if Krishna knows your heart, because here, you know, sometimes we get into the protocol more than serving the divine, because I know if it's a crowd here, you feel that you're going to be disrupted. Like, let's say a lady with small children and she's a little behind and they're doing the lecture. You don't necessarily want to ring this loud, bow down, and do, because it looks like, well, what's going on here? Or we used to have people in the middle of the class walk through with their, offerings, and they would do all their prayers. So what do you say in that? In other words, should they restrain from doing that if there's some formalities going on,
Yeah,
or it's okay?
yeah, it's okay. This time, place, circumstances matters.
Yes.
Time, place, circumstances. Like we having Bhagavatam time. You don't ring the bell to disturb the speaker, to disturb the audience. And generally, it's a custom, it's a rule that when you enter the temple, you ring the bell. At the same time, when your Bhagavatam class is going on or seminars are going on, you don't ring the bell. Or at the same time, on the altar when offering and when Bhagavatam is going on, they don't blow the conch shell, like loudly. They just tap it. There's a rules. At the same time, there is a excuse also, like time, place, circumstances. It's not that oh, today there is a Bhagavatam class, I should not ring the bell. Tomorrow there is no Bhagavatam class, still I will not ring the bell. No, that's why you should understand. It's not this way or this way. It's like taking approach of seeing the devotees how they do. They should follow the guidelines. That's
When you're mentioning the demon, basically, Lord Shiva was giving him some grace. So, I don't mean to sound ridiculous, but is there a chance that that demon could come back and have a, human body, or will he in the case of that particular demon, how would Lord Shiva feel if he went back to doing unpleasantries? In other words, that particular day, the demon was trying to be good and follow the particular protocol and was sincere. So, would he be given enough grace to maybe, not be a demon anymore?
Yeah, we can see that in the following verses how the demon get liberated. Will he given anybody? Like what is the next approach? Supreme Lord's mercy, we cannot judge. It will be only this way. As I said, it can be this way, it can be that way. It is upon totally, he's totally independent. We cannot say that you should give mercy to him according to my direction, you should give mercy to him according to his direction. No, he will give mercy according to his. He's totally independent. He can do anything. But ultimately that will benefit that living entity, whether it may be a demon Bhavanasura, whether it may be a devotee, whether it may be any living entity. If a bona fide representative no, recommends that particular living entity to shower mercy upon him, then he will do according to his will, not according to our will. If it is, he is totally independent. We will, as we verses like read 47, 48, we will understand how Bhaumasura got mercy from the Supreme Lord in the following classes. We cannot say that.
Yeah, I understand. Well, yeah, there's a lot of information in the books.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing better with when years and years ago, I just try to avoid people that seem to be in a dark place. But those are the ones that I give the most compassion to these days. And I just pretend that they're not what I'm looking at. And then they come around.
Yes.
Because many people won't come here because they're afraid that they're not presentable as far as their lifestyles.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, thank you for that. So Sevananda has something we can.
You can.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji, for class. I just wanted to share and mention that in the Bhagavatam, the first canto, first canto, um, chapter 1, there's that verse 8 or 118, where it says, the translation says, and because you are submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Therefore, you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from them. And then the purport, the first line, where Prabhupada says, the secret of success in spiritual life is in satisfying the spiritual master and thereby getting his sincere blessings.
Yes.
So that's it.
Yeah, that's a nice point you brought it. In Bhagavad Gita also, um, one should approach a bona fide representative. Tadviti pranipatena pariprashtena sevaya upadeshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. When you approach a bona fide representative, when you submissively render him service, tadviti pranipatena pariprashtena, then you ask a question, then he will impart a transcendental knowledge upon you. Then he will impart, and then he will give you transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, if you don't approach a bona fide representative, even though if approach, if you challengingly, you approach, and if you don't render service unto him, then there will no knowledge. Pariprashrena, when you serve him, then you will uh, get a chance to ask questions. Pariprashrena. Jnaninas Tattvadarshina. Then transcendental knowledge will reveal in your heart. If you don't approach a spiritual master, bona fide representative, or if you don't render him service, and if your mode is not proper, then no matter how many years or decades you serve, the transcendental knowledge will not come to you. So that's the way you acquire the transcendental knowledge. Thank you for the comment.
you were putting a lot of emphasis on, the necessity of approaching a bona fide representative of Lord Krishna, and that is the way to get the mercy of Lord Krishna. So, in the case of Banasura, uh, he had rendered service to Lord Shiva, but at the same time, it also displeased Lord Shiva. And so Lord Shiva's displeasure, as that pure representative of Lord Krishna, led to Lord Krishna actually inflicting punishment on Banasura, because Banasura had to lose his 996 arms. So, but the mercy came that Lord Shiva intervened, that Lord Krishna didn't punish further. so, so actually, there seems quite that there has to be some care in dealing with the pure representative of Lord Krishna, because Banasura did make a mistake, and he did actually get Krishna punishing him. So it seems it's a fine line how one approaches the pure representative of Lord Krishna, because it can also include the punishment part.
Yeah, that's a nice comment. Like, we cannot predict, as you said, it is a fine line. Like, if we ask all the followers of Lord Shiva got mercy of Krishna, no, some of them are got. Like, classic example is Banasura. There are so many demons who worshipped Lord Shiva, who pleased them, who pleased Lord Shiva. They didn't get the mercy of Lord Krishna. Ravan is a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He pleased, he pleased with his various worshipping. Like, he even lifted Mount Kailas and he praised Lord Shiva, and he composed a very nice verse of Lord Shiva, glorifying Lord Shiva. But when Lord Krishna came as Lord Ramchandra, when he killed Ravan, at that time Lord Shiva didn't intervene, and we see that. And that is the one example. There are, I'm sure, I'm not recollecting. That's the only example I can recollect now, because the demons approach Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva's another name is Ashutosh, easily pleased. And at the same time, Lord Shiva will not recommend every demon, you know, to Lord Krishna that, oh no, he's my follower, he's pleased me, please shower your mercy upon him. No, because Lord Shiva is understands, you know, like who is, who can be qualified person. Just like we hear in the story, Sanatana Goswami, as a follower and a pure, staunch devotee, pure, strong devotee of Lord Shiva, comes to Sanatana Lord Shiva and asks, I want something more. Then Lord Shiva asked him, that devotee, that Brahmana, to approach Sanatana Goswami. Then Sanatana Goswami says, I will give you, like you want something, touchstones kind of thing. It is there in the garbage. Take that. Then that Brahmana thinks, why is something precious, valuable he kept in garbage? That means he must have something more extra or something else. So then again he comes to the Sanatan Goswami, asks, what is that, you have more precious, valuable? And he says that you throw that touchstone in the Yamuna, then come to me. Then he gives the Harinam. So that story tells us, if a bona fide, if a person who is qualified, that he approach, if you intensely, sincerely prays to Lord Shiva directs that person to the Lord Krishna, so that he will shower mercy. But at the same time, Lord Shiva will not direct all the demons to the Lord Krishna. Just like a Ravan, he did not approach. That's the thing, like that.
Yes, with Lord Shiva. There are people here in America and I guess elsewhere that actually are worshiping Lord Shiva. Would you think it's because they feel it's more grace or it's easier or they can slack off um, because instead of the Supreme Lord, or when it's time for them to leave their body, they will still get the same opportunity to be in the spiritual planet or the topmost spiritual planet.
Yeah, it depends. Like Lord Shiva is always meditating on Lord Krishna. He's chanting the holy names of Krishna. If a person is sincere, then Lord Shiva will direct him to the Lord Krishna. If a person is not sincere, is like just asking material boons, material benefits, oh Lord Shiva, I want opulence, he will immediately give him opulence, or immediately whatever he asks, he gives him. If Lord Shiva decides that he is here is a student, or here is a devotee, he's very, I see he's sincerely approaching me, let me direct him to the Lord Krishna. It's not by this way or by this way. It's not material calculation. Lord Shiva is a pure living entity. He understands other living entities, their mind. He sees that this is a person where he's sincerely. He doesn't need any material benefit. He doesn't need any opulences. He doesn't need any, some kind of benefits from me. He is sincerely worshipping me. If Lord Shiva thinks that, definitely he will direct him. If Lord Shiva thinks that, oh, this person is asking some kind of a benefit, he want material benefit, he want opulence, he wants some kind of exchange of worship, some kind of a benefit, some kind of like a boon, then he will gives him a boon. He makes him do whatever is necessary. But Lord Shiva's knows what is his heart. It is he can decide. We cannot decide. If he is a sincere or not, Lord Shiva can understand. That's just like so many people walk in the temple. Lord Kishore, he knows that who is sincere. Then he will direct him to the pure devotee. Then so that he can understand him better. Similarly, Lord Shiva understands his heart of a living entity, then he can direct him. If Lord Shiva does things that's just like a Ravana. Ravana only needs, opulence, power, or a rule. He wants something kind of a power to rule it over the earth, or to rule, to destroy the sages, to destroy the Vaishnavas. But at the same time, he did not recommend Lord Krishna to Lord Ramachandra to save him when he was killing. Lord Ramachandra was killing Ravana, Lord Shiva did not interfere. He did not intervene because he knows that. So we cannot say all the devotees of Lord Shiva, followers, all the followers of Lord Shiva may come to the Krishna, maybe or may not be, depends on their sincerity. One may say that I'm big devotee of Lord Shiva, but at the same time you are smoking ganja, you're smoking some, alcohol, drinking alcohol. They may not. Yeah. I think we'll just stop here. It's 8:40. Thank you very much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaur Premanande.